AKA Ward 4 Candidates Forum Part 1. This is Natalia Stracuzzi, candidate for the office of Delegate to the U.S. House of Representatives in the District of Columbia for the Statehood Green Party. Here's some photos of some of the volunteers for the candidates at the forum. I would also like to say something to AKA. I was told that I would have 3 minutes at the end of this forum to speak about my platform. At the last moment, AKA told me that I would no longer be able to do this. Myself, I can sleep with a clear conscience at night. I would like to ask the organizers of AKA how they can sleep with a clear conscience based on the fact that I'm running on one of the most important offices in the District of Columbia and that I've been left out of every forum and have not been interviewed by any local media and only been given the option by PFW to speak at one of their open candidate days. Thank you. I hope you enjoy my video.
Technology High School. Next month, the president will come and award the School Excellence Award to the school. They're doing well, and they have great scores. In addition to that, I was watching Fox Morning News one morning in the month of May. Our children were complaining about not having books for their core subjects. And these were children from Banneker and School Without Walls. So you know what was happening in other schools. So I introduced legislation and got legislation passed that mandated that the superintendent must provide books and instructional materials for our children by the second week of school. This year, the council passed my legislation, the Early Education Childhood Act, which means that the chancellor must create a curriculum that trains our 3- and 4-year-olds for kindergarten, and also create a curriculum that ensures that our 3rd graders, upon entering the 4th grade, can read independently and can add, divide, multiply, and subtract. Because if they can't do that, the United States Department of Education says they will make contact with the criminal justice system. There are 8 states in the United States right now that have bills or have passed bills to stop children from moving on from the 3rd grade to the 4th grade if they can't read. That's how they build their correctional facilities. So we are attacking those issues. I had the first economic development project in 20 years, Home Depot, Giant. Now we added 9 retail outlets. There's affordable housing there. This year we will open Costco over in Fort Lincoln. So if you look at the record, even in terms of recreation, I had the first 3 recreation facilities that were renovated or built. Turkey Thicket, North Michigan Park, Brentwood Community Center. We work hard. And this year, the citizens brought me back, and we've been working hard to make sure that our dollar circulates in the District of Columbia and not outside the city. We want to make sure that we are providing opportunity for those of us who live here in the areas of affordable housing. We're told that they're going to create 55,000 jobs over the next decade. But we're not told how we're going to connect those jobs to our 35,000 unemployed people. And that's why I'm here and I'm on the job. Number 5 on the ballot. I need your help. I need all your friends' help. Thank you very much.
Well, greetings, AKAs and friends. I'm Uriel Bowser, and I'm very pleased to be with you this evening and all the folks up at the table. I want to say this. I'm not running against any of them. I already have the best seat on the Council of the District of Columbia. I represent Ward 4. And back in April, the residents of Ward 4 sent a real clear message that everything in our ward is moving in the right direction. 67% of the people who came out to vote that day said, Muriel Bowser, you should have another term. We ran against a wonderful, talented field of people, and I'm pleased to have the Democratic nomination. I'm even more pleased that nobody's running against me on the November 6th ballot. But I wanted to be here because maybe some of you in Ward 4, you know friends in Ward 4, who want to hear more from me because no one ever expects to get every vote. That's what we go after every time. And so I wanted to come out and ask you again humbly to support me on November the 6th. This is why I say we're moving in the right direction in Ward 4. We see our population increasing, our housing values holding, our people are employed, our numbers are below the national average, our violent crime rates are down. We have created over 500 units of housing along every income spectrum. We have more senior housing. When people look at our corridors like Georgia Avenue and 14th Street, they see over 50 new businesses, restaurants, and guess what? Even a brand new Safeway on the way on Georgia Avenue. And that's what people said. That's the charge that they gave me when I came to office back in 2007. Bowser, stay focused on school reform. Bowser, stay focused on economic development. And for goodness sakes, pay attention to the things that improve our quality of life. Like making sure the police have what they need, like making sure we're building new parks and recreation centers, like making sure that DDOT fixes the roads, the sidewalks, the alleys, the trees, and the street lamps. That's what makes life in Ward 4 so appealing. That's why people continue to move here, and that's why people stay here. And that's what my job is as your representative, to go down to the city council, to work with my colleagues, to work with the mayor, and make sure that we're getting the things that we need in our ward. I've had the privilege of having great leadership roles with the council. My level of influence, I dare say, has increased these last 4 years, and my level of expertise in delivering for this ward and making life better for the residents of the District of Columbia has also increased. I chair a powerful committee. I represent the whole city on the Metro Board, and I recognize that we still have a lot of work to do. I'm proud of the legislation that I've passed to reform ethics in our city and much more. I look forward to talking to you more tonight, and I thank you for your support.
Right.
You've got 30 seconds to answer the question that the audience, members of the audience have raised. I know, Phil, it's not going to be easy. All y'all, for the incumbents or for the challenges. So here goes on the first. It's your education related. You guys are sitting around and you know schools and education are very updated. If elected, what would you do to address the issue of art, physical education, foreign languages, and music in every school? Mr. Cheeks, if elected is the first two words in the question, so you're up.
I think our school system, I should say I think, but I know our school system has to be reorganized with removing the money from administrative expenses to student expenses. From what I understand, DCPS has a very large budget for administrative expenses, and our children are not receiving the right per dollar figure to enhance their education.
I haven't changed my mind. I told you ago that we're going to take a percentage of those DC lottery game revenues and give them to our teachers, our schools. Right now, there's a plan to close down the DC public school libraries and fire librarians. We need that money from the lottery. And now the council are asking you, when the I-games come in, that they'll ask you for another promise. That they promise that those revenues from the I-games, a second promise to our schools. I want to make sure they hold true to the first promise.
Well, this is primarily a matter of funding to make sure that all of those programs are continued. So it is a matter of the council overseeing that funding and making sure that it's prioritized properly. So don't really have a lot, the council doesn't have a lot of control over a lot of the curriculum decisions, but they do have control over the funding. So that's where they can make sure that those things are continued.
Yeah, a colleague of ours actually introduced a bill to mandate that some of our schools have some of those issues, which I supported. I went to Shepherd Elementary School. There was a nurse there. We had a dentist that came in once a month. We had home economics. And so we have lost some of those values that our young people had
a long time ago relative to what we need to have in the classroom, because our kids need a lot of different services. They need wraparound services. They're going to need the teacher to talk about math, science, and history, which of course is important. But a lot of our kids don't even understand how important banks are. A lot of our folks and residents go through and deal with cash check agencies. We need to help educate our children in more than one aspect.
You back? Okay. I did that on purpose.
I believe it.
I'll tell you what, I think we all know that high-performing schools make sure that they teach the entire child. And that means art, that means sports, that means music, and that means languages, so that our kids can be really nurtured into being productive adults. But it's deeper than that. We need to make sure that the entire focus of city government is making sure that every child has the best chance possible at success. And that means full-time employment for their parents. That means making sure that they're getting nutritious food and that they're experiencing all the things that the city has to offer. And so I think that we can legislate that, and I will.
Yeah, the fundamental problem here and why you don't have these issues in every single school and these opportunities in every school is because the council hasn't stepped up to the plate and helped create the vision for what our school reform should look like. You have to create a space for what the 5-year, 10-year vision is, so when you're doing the budgeting, you can actually make sure that there's a space there for art, for foreign languages, for libraries, for everything that the student needs. Yes, wraparound services are important. Yes, making sure the money's there is important. But without the vision, without council members creating space for that vision for the school system, you're never going to get to that end goal.
I agree that focus and priority setting is key. I think that the council should set up an education committee again, so that in fact there is a staff that's focused on education. It's not just in the at-large committee. In terms of art, physical ed, music, I would also add libraries to that list. I think that's something that you can also do in clusters and sharing teachers. We used to have the Fillmore Arts Cluster, which is still there. There was one in Ward 7 that was similar. So you have a music teacher, certain sports and so forth that are shared among schools, and that's another way to make sure that all students get those.